Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about Ron Rivera and Scott Turner and why I think there are major problems that might not be fixed even next year. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I know some of you aren't subscribed. It takes 1 second. It's free. Please go ahead and do it and hit that like button and turn on that notification bell. The Commanders, lost another game yesterday, and of course, a lot of it, fell on the players, but also some of it fell on the coaching as well. Specifically, Ron Rivera and Scott Turner. Man, did yesterday's loss just sting, man. We had that. We really did, up by 10 in the fourth, and we blow it. Really, really unfortunate. Would have been such a good win, good quality win, but unfortunately, not able to get the job done. And I know a lot of people are thinking the season's over. I just don't think that's the case. We're one game under 500. The NFC is wide open in terms of, the last wild card spot. We're like a game out. So are we in a great, situation? Not necessarily, but there's still a chance. I feel like fans are so in the moment sometimes. Like after a win, they think, we're the best, not the best team in the league, but we're going to win a playoff game this year. And when we lose, they think we're the worst team in the league. I think it's a little bit in the middle. So we'll see. Even if we lose against the Eagles, I don't think the season's over, and that's going to be a really, really tough game. But let's get into Scott Turner and Ron Rivera. We'll start with Ron just because he is the head guy. Just another game where he contributed to a loss based off of his time management / challenges, and not really the time management too much. That wasn't a huge issue in this game. It was more so the challenge that he made, that it was only going to give you 1 yard. It was only going to give you 1 yard, and if you really looked at it, he was probably short, but definitely you knew by watching the replay there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it. And you're going to do that, risk doing that for 1 yard where it was 3rd and 1 the next play. Like, you had 2 plays after that to get a yard. If it was, if that was on 4th and 1, I would understand it. But it was 2nd and 1. You were about to be at 3rd and 1 if that was unsuccessful. So I did not like that challenge at all, and it was unsuccessful. They lost a timeout, and they lost about 45 seconds. So, and that even with the Ridgeway penalty, if they had those 40-ish seconds, that adds what? They had 13 seconds at the end, so they would have had about 55 seconds to score a field goal. Is that ideal? No, but it's doable. And if Ridgeway doesn't commit that stupid penalty, then they would have had, like 2 minutes, 30 seconds to score, which is very, very doable with the 2-minute warning as well. So Ron really messed it up with that challenge. And then also, they went for it on 4th and 1 in the second half, which I did not have a problem with. But going for it on 4th and 1 and not having a play ready, that's on Scott and, a little bit Rivera, and forcing to call a timeout. It's just like, at that point, maybe just take the 5-yard penalty, the delay of game, and punt it, because where they were at, 5 yards wasn't really going to make a difference on the punt. And yeah, it just, wasting a timeout there is terrible. They like, in the first half, it's a little bit different because timeouts aren't as important at the end of the half, because it's not necessarily going to decide the game right then and there. But at the end of the game, when you have no more time to play and that's it for the rest of the game, when you don't have timeouts, it just sucks. It just sucks, and it forced the Commanders to only have 13 seconds left to score a field goal, and obviously they could not do it. So just another game where Ron Rivera contributes to the loss because of his clock management / challenge usage. The Tennessee Titans game was another prime example where he terrible challenge. Like, it was a great effort by Cam Sims, but even live you could see it wasn't close. He didn't make the catch. And if they would have had that timeout at the end of the game, they probably would have been able to run it with Robinson and would have won the game. Or Curtis Samuel was tackled in bounds, and the Rivera waits like 5-6 seconds to call a timeout. Like, 5 or 6 seconds could have been the difference there. And he also, at the end of the first half, first halves in all these games, a lot of these games, his clock management isn't good. They're not aggressive. They run the ball a few times and are more worried about not letting the opponent score when they have the ball, and they've scored like 3 points this game. Like, you just gotta score before the end of the half. I just gotta have more urgency. And Rivera just doesn't have that. And then now on to Scott Turner. Like, I was a Scott Turner defender last year. And the crazy thing is, Scott Turner was much better last year than he is this year. And he had worse offensive weapons last year. He just did. The offensive line, the offensive line is better this year. But, like, the amount of injuries they had last year, it probably should have been worse last year. They had even about the same centers, I believe, and a bunch of other injuries as well. But yeah, this year definitely the O-line's worse. But tight ends last year, you had Ricky Seals-Jones playing for you. This year, had some injuries, but the tight end room's a little bit better. And then receivers, much better this year. Last year was just Terry. This year you have Terry, Curtis for the full year so far, and you had Jahan for half the season. Running back's a little bit better. So he's been much worse this year than he was last year, and I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I'll admit, I was wrong about him. I thought he could be a solid offensive coordinator, and he has not been that at all. This year he's been awful, besides maybe the first 2 games. He just hasn't been good, and it's really, really frustrating. He needs to be better if we want a chance to make the playoffs. It's just a lot, where do I even start? Like last game, 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 7, whatever it was, and he calls a design QB run. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just awful play call. And Taylor Heinicke gets like 2 or 3 yards, and then the 4th and 1, the bootleg. I rather run it. I don't hate the play call. I rather run it though. But your limitations with Heinicke, and he wasn't able to get the ball to McLaurin quick enough. And it was a turnover on downs, and they wasted the timeout because Scott Turner didn't have a play ready. They wasted timeout, so that could have, really, really helped them at the end of the game. But, Scott Turner wasted timeout, and to make things worse, they don't even convert on 4th down. They don't convert on 4th down, and just a lot of, some of these trick plays I like, they're cool, but at the end of the day, they're not working. Like, he's done, the one where I can't remember the exact order, but Heinicke gets it, flips it to whatever, Samuel, who flips it to Gibson, who flips it back to Heinicke, and Heinicke I don't think Bates wasn't even that open. I don't really think he was open, but Heinicke doesn't even give him a chance, just throws it like way out of bounds. And that happened once in the Lions game. They did a trick play similar to that with Wentz, and Wentz threw it nowhere near Cam Sims, the receiver. So, I don't know. Maybe it was working in practice, but I don't know. I don't like those play calls too much, especially with Heinicke at QB. I don't think it's going to work. And the only thing, to defend Scott Turner last game is that, like, 4 or 5 batted passes from Heinicke. Like, it's hard to get much done on offense when 5 plays out of the game were just simply erased. They didn't even get a chance to do anything because Heinicke's pass got blocked. And, like, every quarterback, their passes get blocked, occasionally. But with Heinicke, 5 is a lot. 5 is a lot, and that just really, really hurts the offense. But Turner's got to be better. The tempo's, I think the offense is better when the tempo, it's up tempo, quick, and a lot of times they just do it really slow, even before the end of the half. Part of that is on Rivera with the time management, but also Turner doesn't have, he has a lack of urgency, and I don't like that. You got to be more up tempo on offense, and also I would like to see, I know I didn't like the 3rd and 9 call to run Heinicke because, it's 3rd and 9 and you're running him right up the middle. But I would like to see a little bit more of Heinicke rolling to the outside and having the opportunity to run, because I feel in his first year here, not last year, but the first year, he did pretty well in that, and certain times last year he did as well. But this year they really haven't been running him as much, and he's quick. He's very quick, and I just wish they would do that occasionally. Having him roll out to the outside and possibly have an option to run or pass. That's one of his strengths, and Scott Turner hasn't really done that yet. But it is what it is. And now, why I think this problem won't be fixed. Maybe the Scott Turner problem could be fixed, and maybe they will end up firing him. But here's the thing: if we get new owners, which probably will happen, it might not happen until March, right? That's kind of what, like, it might. We might know who it is by January, when, like, because that's when they're saying Bezos and Jay-Z will put in their offers, January. So we might know who gets the team in, like, January, February, but it might not be official till March or May. And then or March or April. Then you can't really get a new coach and everything a couple weeks before the draft. So it might be Rivera for another year, and then you get, if it doesn't work out, then you get a new coach and GM and everything. And yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. But Rivera could fire Scott Turner if he wanted to. And also, maybe he steps down. I mean, he's gone through a lot of things since he came here. Unfortunately, his cancer diagnosis, everything that's gone on with the team, his mother passing away, which is super, super unfortunate. Prayers out to him and his family with that. He's gone through a lot, and a lot of people have hinted it. I have as well. Maybe he steps down eventually. We will see. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about Scott Turner and Ron Rivera. I think they're major problems, and I don't know if they're going to get fixed. Like Rivera, the clock management, I think, is very fixable if you get someone else to do it for him, because he clearly can't do it. And Scott Turner, honestly, I have no idea. And hopefully those guys aren't here. Like, Rivera's a great leader, and sometimes is a good coach. But in terms of front office stuff and his time management, he's just not good at all. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.